Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between ESC's Goody and Nerchio here on Antigua Shipyard. First thing I want to say, thank you for all of you guys out there who educate me a little bit more. I don't have time to follow esports exclusively, and therefore I do not know all the trades, all the team changes, things like that, as Nerchio is no longer part of AAA. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this game. It is going to be Nerchio versus Goody here on Antigua Shipyard. Goody spawning on the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Nerchio spawning as the pink Zerg on the bottom right-hand side of the map. This will be full cross spawns. So cross spawns here on Antigua Shipyard, and it should be pretty interesting to see what the strategies will be, as we have a very early SCV scout here on Antigua Shipyard, something that you rarely ever see coming in from Terran, as Terran normally do not want to scout out until after their barracks has been started. So this is going to be very important. But it looks like Goody knows that this is going to be a cross spawn, and he wants to perhaps try to delay his opponent's hatchery. And this is going to be interesting to see what exactly he tries to go for. Goody now making his way down in with this one SCV. The SCV going to come up the ramp, be able to take a look around. Nerchio perhaps not going to know what's happening for quite some time, as there is an engineering bay already being placed down here. This is going to put a wrench into the works of Nerchio, as Nerchio is not going to be able to easily remove this SCV or this one particular, SCV down to 10 hit points, and now will be able to run away. Spawning pool already coming into play, but this is going to be a significant delay for real no cost. Goody has a 500 hit point engineering bay here. It is going to take 4 Zerglings in order to be able to shut it down and destroy it. And he is now going into a pool extractor build, and we'll see how Nerchio responds to this one particular build. We are going into a barracks over here. We do have a gas up, and with this, Goody may be trying to go for a reactor Hellion expand here on Antigua Shipyard, a strategy that's really become commonplace. And ever since the most recent patches, where you try to use 2 to 4 Hellions to delay the hatchery, as you know that most likely your opponent will really only be able to go for Zerglings early on. Now with the engineering bay here, it is going to give sight, and he's going to exactly know when a hatchery is placed down. No Roach Warren as of yet, as the Zerglings finally make their way over. They're going to be able to destroy it, but I most likely will just get cancelled. And when it is cancelled, it will just refund a lot of minerals over to Goody. And I think that's really what Goody wanted to do. You can see engineering day bait. There you go. 94 minerals. 94 minerals have been refunded there, as we now see that there is going to be a marine being trained, and now adding in a factory. No reactor though, so it is not going to be the reactor Hellion push that I had originally thought, as now a fresh SCV going to come in and do a little bit more scouting once again. He needs to see if there is a Roach Warren down. Going to take a look around. Because he is on creep, he is going to take a little bit more damage. Unable to slip by there. The extractor was only at 100 gas harvested. As we now finally see that reactor being added in, it is going to be significantly delayed. Perhaps training up 1 Hellion and then swapping it out. So yeah, gonna go for 1 Hellion first and then swap locations. We could be getting in an orbital command as well. There's plenty of food right now for Goody, as the Zerglings now hold the center Zelnaga Tower. So we'll see how this all going to play out. About 10 more seconds on each of those. The Marines are now going to try to hold this location here, knowing most likely that the Zerg is going to try to be power droning to get a very strong economy going. Drones already doing a little bit of long distance mining. Nerchio not quite sure when that hatchery would pop up. His timing was a little bit premature. But now 2 Queen Spine Crawlers going to be added, as we are now going into, I believe a Zergling did get taken down. Yes, a Zergling was taken down. It is going to be 3 Hellions. Where is that 1 Hellion? There is 1 Hellion out. It needs to be repaired though, as there is going to be an SCV in a bunker here. Command center about halfway done. Spine Crawler and Queen ready to go. The Zerglings are going to be making their way out. And whether or not Goody is going to have enough Hellions to deal with those Zerglings is going to be the key to whether or not Goody will be able to... whether or not Goody will be able to win this game. He needs to be able to get some drone kills And in order to not fall behind, you can see already 34 drones compared to 25 SCVs. A 34 drone count, much higher, as we are now seeing the Hellions on the move. Zergling's gonna be able to take down one easy Hellion, as the Hellions now move back around once more. And it looks like the 4 Zerglings was able to surround that Hellion with little to no issue whatsoever, as a third hatchery already being placed down. Are the Hellions going to spot this is the key question. The Hellions now going to make their way in. They are going to spot the Queen, perhaps get a little bit of torching damage onto the Queen. No, going for a drone. One drone was taken down, and now backing off once more, just trying to disrupt the mining as more Hellions are still being added. The Hellions, however, still do not know about this fourth or third hatchery there on the other ramp. Is Goody going to be smart enough to check that location? It doesn't look like he will be able to. Oh, he is going to check that location. One Hellion, almost a little overzealous there. Now going to go ahead and torch. A little bit of damage being dealt, and Nerchio taking a lot of damage onto one of those Queens. Has to be very careful, as those Hellions going to be able to get in a lot of torching damage. And now perhaps one low hit point Hellion. Oh, gets pushed into the fray. Doesn't want to really engage there. Zerglings and another Queen very low on hit points, down to 22. As the Zerglings and now the Zerglings and Queens, down goes a Queen, burning to a crisp. Another Queen gonna get most likely get burnt. Is it gonna get taken down? No, down to 1 hit point and still able to survive. That Queen needs to run and find a way to survive. It looks like the Roaches will get countered, but the worker kill count 2 to 1. 41 drones compared to 34 SCVs, as the Queen now may be able to, or the Roach is now going to hold on to this location here, and Nerchio needs to train up another Queen for his third base after losing 1 Queen. Command center being built. We are going into another factory. It looks like we're going to transition into mass mech play with Hellions and siege tanks, a strategy that has become more common against Zerg as of late, as Hellions are really able to take down and destroy a lot of those, a lot of Zerglings. Siege tanks very effective at anything on the ground. You really just need those stores in order to protect against those Mutalisks, as Mutalisks deal so much damage once they reach critical mass. Roach is now finally backing off, teching the tier 2 at the lair, about to be done. The lair about to be done, as we now see an evolution chamber coming in as well. Now, double evolution chamber. It looks like we may be going for double upgrades, as Nerchio just very confident in his game right now. He knows that he was able to push off that attack. He knows that he has most likely a significant economic advantage, as the Hellions unable to get up the ramp, but he did spot the creep on the ramp here, so he most likely knows that a third base is up and running. And now Nerchio establishing his 4th. We can see also an Overseer making its way out. We are going into more barracks, so Goody really trying out this mass mech strategy. We do not see any blue flame tech though, and this is going to be very interesting to see whether or not these Hellions are going to be able to do enough to stop the Roaches and those Zerglings. You can see now this one command center perhaps going to be upgraded to an orbital command. Siege tank back over here. Roaches are already swarming into this location. Hellions do spot this. Hellions not able to shoot past the ramp at all. Siege tanks. Goody now needs to make his way up that ramp. The rocks are about at half life. The Hellions and siege tanks are now in siege position here. If the Roaches try to push their way up, that is going to be a very bad day, as some of those Hellions are taking a little bit of damage now and may be able to walk up the ramp, and it looks like the Overlord is going to try to push in. Roaches taking a little bit too much damage there, as the siege tanks were able to get in a lot of splash damage, but that 4th base from Nerchio already being established, already sitting at about half life, which means that it's almost 50% completed. Goody with siege tanks and Hellions back over here. You can see Marines, missile turrets being added. We are going into Spire Tech, but this is a little bit late, and Goody looks like he is already well aware that Mutalisks could be coming in, getting down some missile turrets already, and those missile turrets may spell a problem for Mutalisks until you get a very large number. Infestors now being added, and it looks like Hive Tech just completely bypassing Spire Tech or Tier 2 Tech. Instead of Mutalisks, perhaps maybe going into pure Broodlords, as Broodlords would come as a really big surprise to Goody, as Goody hasn't even seen one air unit at all. If he's able to get some Corruptors and then transition them into Broodlords when there are no Vikings in the air, those Broodlords are going to be able to simply walk over everything, as the Broodlords have superior range to Marines. The Marines do not even have stim yet, and that's all Goody really has for anti-air. Roaches still hiding down over here. They are upgraded to 0-1 level 2 claw attack upgrades. Indicates to me that we really could be going into mass broodlords, as he doesn't really have that many zerglings and a lot more roaches than anything else. Blue flame tech is being added. Here comes some infestors as well. So 4 infestors burrow play could be coming in, as we now see another command center being built once more. The siege tanks have to be very careful. Now that they are moving out and rolling out, the Hellions do have that blue flame tech, or will have that tech in just a moment, as the roaches are now making their way forward, and in comes the swarm. So the swarm going to be able to bypass this army completely, and Goody completely not aware of what's happening. Siege tanks now sieging, but the infestors, the infestors are going to get absolutely wasted there, as the roaches and zerglings now trying to engage. It looks like what the zerglings do not yet have to deal with blue flame, as the zerglings are now going to simply be able to run up the ramp. Siege tank in siege mode quickly gets destroyed. In comes a Thor, and now raising up the wall. A Thor trying to battle it back. The roach is getting trapped in a really nasty position there, and now all those roaches can really do is just try to minimize their losses, as Nerchio going to lose the rest of these roaches without dealing that much damage. But in comes a new swarm of zerglings once again. Siege tank's going to be able to get in some easy blast, deal a lot of damage to those zerglings, and SCV's trying to continue mining, but this is not good at all. Goody is in a bit of trouble as the siege tanks and Thors now roll out. Greater Spire has been completed. We could be getting broodlords up in just a moment. Hellions now finishing off many of these units. Siege tanks now up on the high ground, should be able to lay waste to all of these roaches, as the roaches were not at all prepared. But as soon as those broodlords come out, I think it is going to be a completely different story, as the gold mineral patch may get taken down in this engagement. Still no SCV trying to train this up. Harvester count 61 compared to 84, and Goody going to have a very small victory here, taking down this gold mineral patch, even though there is even more drones over here. These rocks have yet to be destroyed. Hellion now going to be able to come up the ramp, and perhaps, Goody did not really take a look around, did not engage there, as Goody now just starting to move out with this army. And now what is going to be happening here, as a siege tank being left by itself? Very bad day. Corruptors now coming in. Infestor's going to get off some fungal growths. There you go. And now in comes some broodlords. 2 broodlords in the air. It is going to start the transitioning of some more Vikings, but it may be too little too late, as those broodlords are now making their way across the map. Should be able to begin sieging onto this here in just a moment. Yes, I am busy, but I was not set to busy. I'm sorry, Chaos Theory, as we now see even more units trying to push their way in. You can see now siege tanks over here. Broodlords are going to make very quick work of all of these siege tanks, especially with the addition of all that splash damage. Corruptors now engaging against Vikings. Mass infested Terrans also coming in as well, and this siege line will be broken. I believe Goody is gonna just continue to climb uphill in this battle. Another siege tank gonna get destroyed there. Infestors really have no energy, but they're just admiring the view of the Zerg swarm, able to deal so much damage. Siege tank trying to come back in, gonna be able to perhaps finish off a couple of those very expensive infestors, but 5-6 broodlords making their way around, gonna be able to finish off all of those marauders. SCVs now trying to return home, will not be able to do so, and I believe that will be the GG, as Nerchio with a 187 army compared to 85, still running off of a lot of bases. Mass Viking army now being trained to try to deal with those broodlords. Corruptors still being added, and it looks as though the Zerglings are just going to be able to swarm in continually on the ground. Thor siege tanks not really able to do very much at all, as those broodlings are surrounding and taking down Hellions, even though the Vikings are doing a great job trying to stay alive. And there is the GG by Goody. So Goody losing game 1 in this series versus Nerchio. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.